I wanted to record another video tonight while things were fresh on my mind. Sorry, just trying to get comfortable here. Alright. As you can see, I just had some friends over. Anyways, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my life after the Sea Org and share with you a bit of what I went through when I left. As I said in my last video, my parents weren't notified that I was coming home. After I was thrown out, they had no idea I would be there. My dad did not know what to expect. So when I called him to tell him I was home, I didn't say much, just said, "Dad, I'm home." And he said, "I'll be there," and hung up. I don't know what happened between when he left his work and when he got home, but he was angry at me. He wasn't happy to see me. My mom wasn't happy to see me when she got home either. He spent, I don't know, a good 4 hours yelling at me, telling me I was worthless and what are people going to think of me and what are people going to think of him. Really, it was all about them, my parents, They just blamed me for what happened to me and, didn't really give a crap. And then started talking about how are people going to look at them and how is he going to explain to people why his son isn't in the Sea Org anymore, because he's not going to tell anybody his son's a fag, dirty fag. He's not going to tell his son's a piece of shit. So that was really his concern, is how he was going to explain to people that he knew about why I wasn't in the Sea Org anymore. So I went in my room and I cried for a while. I crawled on the top bunk, and my brother and sister were at school. I guess my dad had a talk with them before I did, and I don't know what he told them. I still to this day don't know what he told them, but all I know is he sent my sister to tell me that I betrayed her by leaving, and that I could tell it wasn't her words, because at the time she wasn't using words that were that big. Hold on, I'm moving, sorry. Alright. That's a little better. Alright. So, yeah, so after that, I just laid on my bed and I cried for a good, 3 hours, probably fell asleep. Woke up later in the day and I just left. I didn't say bye, I didn't say anything. I just walked out of my house. I didn't want to go back at first. So I spent some time walking around exploring my options. I had been disconnected from my family in Texas, so I didn't really think to call them. I hadn't spoken to them in years since my grandmother passed away. My grandmother passed away in 2002, and I was allowed a week off only from the church to go see her. I got to go, and she, I saw her before she passed. I wasn't allowed to go to her funeral. Wasn't permitted. My mom was the only one that went, and I guess because my dad couldn't afford the plane tickets, I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't able to be there with my grandmother, and it's one of my biggest regrets in life. I mean, although I hadn't seen my family at that point for, I don't know, what, a good 8 years or something. It had been a long time, a very long time. I remember seeing them and how grown up they were and how much I missed them. That was really the first disconnection in my life. So anyways, while I was in the Sea Org, I got to go see them only because my grandmother was passing away, and then after that, I didn't see them again for years. So when I left the Sea Org, I didn't really think to call them, and I should have. Would have been a good idea. I could have gotten myself away from there, because I was becoming suicidal at this point. In the first day, I was thinking about dying, and I was walking around late at night hoping that something would happen to me and that I would end up hurt or in the hospital or something, and maybe my parents would care about me again. I don't know what was going through my head, all kinds of stuff. I was a teenager still. So at some point though, during the walk, I decided to go home, and I said screw it, I would go ahead and go home. And I got back home, and my parents, they pretended like they didn't, I don't know if they cared. They didn't really seem to care. They just asked where was I, and I said I went for a walk, and that was it. It was at that point after the way my dad spoke to me when I got back, that I decided that I didn't want to share my private life with him anymore. I wouldn't share anything private with him anymore, and I didn't. I stuck to that promise. He didn't know who my friends were. He hardly met my friends. He couldn't even remember their names the few times he met them. And I preferred it that way. I liked it that way. I didn't want my dad to know who I hung out with. I didn't want him to know what kind of person I was. My mom or my dad, because all they wanted from me was to be in Scientology. And the only reason I talk about this is because this is how Scientologist parents treat their kids, one for one. Because Scientology is the only thing that's important to a Scientologist, and this affects the family bond because Scientology breaks down the family bond. So I got a job with a Scientologist through a Scientologist, and eventually started working. I went to another Scientology job after that, bounced around a couple of them until I finally went out and found one on my own. I did very good at every job I was at. I've consistently done well. I'm doing well at the job I'm at now. I have no problem with the work, and I enjoy working. I know that we all need to earn a living, so I knew that's what I needed to do. So I started working up the experience, and eventually got to where I am now, where I can support myself. It took a few years, took 8 years. I didn't have college. I probably would have had a little jump start if I had college, but of course in Scientology, that's another thing the children in Scientology are denied is college because it's not important. Even the richest Scientologists tend to not send their children to college because their money goes to the church. So after that, after I finally worked up to be on my own, we moved in with my aunt at one point. We started to want a nicer house. This is in 2010. I think it was 2009. We moved in with my aunt in a big house, and she was splitting half the rent. And then my dad found out that she had drifted from Scientology and started to badmouth her to my sister and I, and eventually they had their falling out. And I wish I had been more involved in that, but I mean, that's my brother, and I mean my father and his sister. So what was I gonna do? It's not my involvement. I'm not supposed to be involved in that, so that's between them. Eventually in late, I think, I don't remember, in 2010, she ended up passing away. Can't remember exactly when. I'll probably remember eventually. I have some memories still returning from some of those traumas, but I haven't quite suffered all the grief from that. But she passed away. It was the first time that somebody I had been so close to so recently had passed away. It hurt a lot to have because I had decided that I might call her and go live with her to get away from my family, because I know she had drifted from the church, and I know she understood everything I went through because she was on staff as well. Although she was not on Sea Org staff, she was on like the regular lower level Scientology staff. And she went through hell during her time on staff, and so did I. And my dad constantly tried to keep me separated from her, afraid that I would fall to her side and I would become disaffected from the church as well. And it happened, with or without her, happened on its own. And I wanted to move in with her, and shortly after I decided I was going to do that, I found out she had passed away, and I feel like I could have helped her if I had gone to be with her. I mean, it would have been good for me, but yeah, she was already gone. And so at that point, I saw how my dad still badmouthed her, my mom still badmouthed her. Even after everything, they still talk bad about her. And it made me mad, and it made me wonder what would happen to me if I decided to leave the church like she did. If I decided I wanted nothing more to do with Scientology, and I suddenly realized that my family, they don't care about me. They care about Scientology, and they only love me as long as I'm in Scientology. And they won't love me if I'm not a Scientologist. And I finally, at some point, decided that it's not worth it anymore to pretend to be a Scientologist so I can have them love me. It's just not. They used to talk crap about my sister all the time because my sister didn't want anything to do with the church. And they let my sister live with them because she never talked bad about the church. But believe me, the minute she talked bad about the church, she would be gone. But my sister follows in my dad's footsteps. I mean, he has her under his control. So at some point, towards the end of 2011, I decided that was it, and I posted online that I wanted out. Or no, I posted online, excuse me, that everything that I had been through. I decided that I wanted out, and I posted online everything I had been through. I posted under a pseudonym. I wanted to see how long it would take the church to track me down. It took them a few months. My parents showed up. I went to go help a friend move one day, and my parents, they showed up unexpectedly. I didn't know what it was about by the time I saw them, and I was ready to go. I had already talked to a friend of mine. I wanted to see how, if it would be okay. I told them everything I went through, both of them, and they said it would be okay if I lived with them. They wanted me to move out before this even happened, and I should have, but I was waiting till the last possible minute, and so I was ready to go. Packed all my stuff in my car and left. I haven't spoken to them since April of 2012. It's been a year. I sent my mom an email, and all I got was, "Oh, well, I can't talk to you." That was her response. Unless I made good with the Church of Scientology, which I already made clear to them when I left that I would not. I think they're still convinced that I will. So then I realized I realized before that there's no unconditional love in Scientology. There's really no love in Scientology at all. It's about Scientology, and that's it. And after I saw the way they treated my aunt is when I decided I was done. After I saw the way they talked about my aunt, I decided I wanted nothing to do with that. I don't care anymore. So my sister, my brother is in the Sea Org now. He joined before I left. So I don't know if I'll ever see him again. I don't know if I ever will see my family again. I have no idea. I don't even know what they're doing now, and it's messed up to say, but sometimes I don't care. I mean, I care about them as much as they care about me, which is none. I hope one day they'll come to their senses, but for now, I have to move on with my life, and I still love my parents, I still love my sister, and I love my brother a lot, and I do miss them sometimes, especially when I'm alone in my house like I am now. There's nobody here with me. It hurts sometimes, and I hope I get to see them again one day. I hope they talk to me again one day. I hope the Church of Scientology burns. I hate that place. I don't mean burns literally, by the way. Please don't take that as a threat. I mean, I hope that it goes down in flames, is in the figurative speech, and then I hope that it ends very dramatically for all of us. I'm sure a lot of us ex-Scientologists are looking forward to that one day. So, trying to think if there's any. Oh yeah, so after I moved out of my house, it took me a couple months, but eventually I found my own place, and I lived with some friends. Like I said, I moved in with some friends. I got a better paying job. I moved out on my own. I started going to therapy in the last few months, in October, and that was nice. It's amazing to sit down and talk to someone. I was scared a little bit because in Scientology, the therapy always ends up being confessional, where they're trying to drag secrets out of you. But I didn't have to talk about my masturbation habits or anything to this therapist. She just wanted to talk to me about what I've been through. And she didn't judge me. She didn't want me to make up for my sins or atone for my sins or anything. She just made me feel okay, and it was nice to feel okay for a little while. Eventually I was put on medication, which is why you see me kind of mellow right now. I normally am very up and down emotionally, usually down. Sometimes I was on a manic episode, but not too bad. I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was just sometimes I would be really happy, and then all of a sudden I would feel like crap the next day. And I used to worry about things constantly, and thankfully stuff like that doesn't happen anymore. I kind of mellow. I'm kind of okay. I mean, when I say worry about things, I mean everything. I was always nervous, always anxious. I mean, I've been diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety, both resulting from the PTSD. PTSD is my underlying diagnosis, and I've been put on medication for that, and it's working. I mean, it seems to be working pretty well. It's only been a few weeks, and it's supposed to take 6 weeks to kick in or something, so we'll see. So far it's made me feel better. I don't worry all day long, and certainly not as unhappy as I used to be. I'm a pretty happy guy right now. I can actually appreciate life and appreciate spending time with people, and I'm not constantly thinking about things that bother me. And when I do, I can stop thinking about them. They don't come down on me. That's not like when I left the Sea Org, when I was in that suicidal, well, not really, I wouldn't say suicidal because I never tried anything, but when I was that low that I was thinking about suicide. Right now I feel actually pretty good. I'm really kind of enjoying myself right now. I'm not going to say I'm happy because I'm not taking happy pills, but I can't say that. They're kind of evening me out. Yeah, so I guess that's it for now. I have to say, one other thing, which I like to talk about. From during 2011, I was unemployed because I was laid off and I couldn't find suitable work for a while. So during most of 2011, I was unemployed. I was laid off in January, found a job in November. When my aunt passed away, she left me life insurance, and I used that to kind of take a year off work because I had been working nonstop since I was 16 years old. And when I left the Sea Org, my parents weren't about to let me get away with not working for even a minute. I had a job within maybe a week or two after leaving the Sea Org. So I had been working nonstop since I was 15 years old. And I finally wanted some time off. So I used the life insurance money my aunt gave me and the unemployment that I was getting. And, I kind of just bided my time finding a new job. I was really looking for something that was worthwhile until I finally found something in November. It took me a while, but, I just wanted to kind of enjoy my time off, I guess, a little bit while I was looking for work. So I did. I traveled and had a good time. So yeah, I guess that's it. Trying to think if there's anything. I never had a chance to go to school. I would love to go back to school, but fortunately I don't have anybody to support me. I don't have anybody. I'm all on my own. I don't have time to go to school. I'm hoping to join the military one day. I have to lose about 100 pounds to do that. As you can tell, I'm pretty overweight. That's one of my goals right now. Hopefully I can lose that weight before I'm too old to join the military. So I would really, really like to do that. I think it would be good for me to do something worthwhile like that instead of just sitting around making money for big corporations. I would like to, serve my country for a little while, at least for a couple of years. So anyways, those are my goals right now, but I'm doing okay in life right now. Pretty happy. I think I'm a pretty happy guy, pretty level, pretty even, pretty normal kind of guy. So I hope you enjoyed this video and just kind of wanted to bring you up to date on where I'm at now. Maybe I'll try to do a video on my childhood later. Just so you know, those years that all this was going on was 2004 through... in 2004, I left the Sea Org. In 2010, I believe, is when my aunt passed away. In 2011 is when I spoke out on the internet. Very end of 2011, and then 2012 is when April of 2012 is when my parents threw me out. So it's been a year. I think all things considered, I'm doing okay after a year. So yeah, hopefully things get better from here. I hope nothing else holds me back. I haven't been, in case you're wondering, I haven't been harassed by the church yet either. I don't know if they will. They might one day. We'll see. FYI, if you hear anything from the church about me, and my involvement in the church was exclusively as a minor. I never did any services as an adult. So if they're talking about anything, it's from my childhood. And I don't think that's fair. I was under 18 until the day before I think I left the Sea Org, or 2 days, something like that. 2 days before I left the Sea Org. So if you hear anything from the church, it will be all about me as a minor. And yeah, good stuff. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you.